Hello, everybody. My name is Javon Henry. I am a full-time voiceover artist, and welcome to our first official Wednesday session. Today, we're just going to be going over our wins for the week. We're going to be talking about the things that we did amazingly, the things that we did not so well, things that we can improve, things that we are super, super hyped and we're super proud on. So if you have anything that you want to share, any questions that you might have, anything of that nature, go ahead and leave them in the chat. Until people start to roll in, we're just going to start with the win of the week. So number one win of the week that I have is SAG After Strike. The SAG After Strike has officially been kind of put to rest. And by kind of put to rest, I say the SAG After Strike, the actual deal has not been ratified and put through. The members still have to vote on it. However, actors are back to work, which is absolutely incredible. There are a lot of provisions in this contract that have a lot of eyes, specifically in the AI department. Now, AI and voice actors, what we are, screen actors, painters, musicians, AI is a very big deal. And it's a very big deal for a very good reason. A lot of people don't want artificial intelligence to have anything to do with the entertainment industry. We have a very strong belief and a very strong feeling, for good reason, that if we allow artificial intelligence within this field, it will remove the human element from this job, from our work, from our career. And that is a very, very, very true and very scary component. But I'm here to tell you that there are some amazing people, such as a group that I follow, NAVA, National Association for Voice Actors, and they work specifically to go to Congress and try and make federal legislation protecting us as artists from having our identities, our work, our face, our voice, from having our essence stolen when it comes to being a voiceover artist. So that is on my Wednesday. I am super glad that this vote is being put forward, but that there was some type of agreement that comes forward. And no, you're never going to get everything that you want when it comes to a contract negotiation. That's typically not how these things work. But a lot of work was put forward. Now it's up to the members to vote on whether or not it is ratified. So if you know anything about the contract, if you have any fears, any worries about the contract, go ahead and comment down below and let's have an open dialogue and an open discussion about what you're thinking about us potentially having this brand new contract. For the people who just came in, today is the first Wednesday. So we're going over our wins, everything good that happened, everything bad that happened, what we want to improve, and what we are working towards changing. So you can go ahead and leave that and we will rally and cheer each other on. Other than that, we're just having a little bit of a sit back discussion. We're just talking about our time as voiceover artists. So if nobody is going to comment down, we are going to start talking about accountability, which is one of the biggest things as artists that holds us back from reaching our full potential. Accountability is the cornerstone of this entire industry, this entire job that we are in, this entire path that we're doing. So things that you can do in order to remain accountable for your goals. Number one, you need to lay out what your goals actually are. Now, this is overarching. What do you think you want to do when it comes to voiceover? And I want you to be as specific as possible. You need to know what you want in order to strive for it, in order to make a plan to actually achieve it. I'll share mine. I have a couple of things. Number one, I want to be in an anime movie production. So something like Suzume, something like Belle. I absolutely love those productions, and I would kill to be a part of it, to dub one of those productions. That's on my goal sheet. Number two, I want to be a Marvel superhero. Now, that's something that's always been on my mind. I've wanted to play Spider-Man for years. And so therefore, I've started training and actually taking acting classes, taking fitness classes, going back to the gym and training to attempt to achieve that goal. And last but not least, number three, I want to be in a major video game, something of the nature of Apex Legends or Overwatch, in that nature, in that realm. Those are my goals. And now everything that I create, all the paths that I make, can aim towards those goals. But if you don't set a lofty ideal for yourself, then you'll never know where to actually steer your ship in order to actually meet those goals. Now, when it comes to accountability, one of the biggest things that I've learned is this: it's the small, boring stuff that makes all of the difference. And a lot of the time, that's the thing that starts to confuse people. They think that it needs to be the overarching sexy things that gets you there. It needs to be the getting an agent, the buying a microphone, the landing a deal, the actually working with clients. All of those things are great, and all of those things are little pieces to the whole entire puzzle. But it is truly the boring stuff, the boring ins and outs, the sending the emails, the practicing your monologue, your reading, your cold reading, the sending out your invoices, following up with past clients, all of the boring things is what makes this job possible. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. The voiceover realm, it is a business. And a lot of the time, we don't like to see it as such because of the fact that we enjoy the artistry, which we are artists. But if we are going to be in this for the long run, we want to position ourselves so that we can make money doing what we love to do. So this is a business. Setting yourself up and understanding that it's the boring daily minutia that will get you to where you're going will prepare you for the ins and outs and all of the aspects of being a voiceover artist. Now, once again, let's talk about this concept of accountability and what you can do each and every day to make steps. Number one, make that goal sheet. And we're going to be talking about accountability from my perspective because it's the only thing that I have. I don't know what you guys want to do. And even if I did, my path might be different from your path. Everybody's path in this industry is different. So let's talk about me wanting to, let's go down the realm of being a superhero for a Marvel movie. Well, there are a couple aspects that you need to understand. Number one, you need to be an amazing actor. Number two, you need to have the physicality of a superhero. That doesn't mean that you need to be buff. It doesn't mean that you need to be shredded, need to be super lean. It just means that you need to actually be able to keep pace on a set. You have to understand set etiquette and what it actually means to be on set, and you have to know what it means to be a lead of a production, which these are very difficult things, and you need experience. Understanding that you need this experience can set you up so that you can start making and crafting your path. That path might be, oh, I want to work with small indie films. That's perfectly legitimate. You can get experience, build experience as you work with small indie films. You can work boots on the ground, work your way all the way up. And as you keep getting experience, craft your path that way. But that accountability part, the doing the boring stuff each and every day, is the part that's going to make the biggest difference. Now, for all of the new people here, this is our first Wednesday. We're talking about all of our wins for the week. We're talking about all of the amazing things that we've done, all of the things that we want to improve and that we want to change, and everything in between. We've already talked about SAG-AFTRA coming back, and now the actors are going back to work. They've ratified a deal. It still has to be voted on by members, and there is a lot of animosity towards the AI component of this deal. So if you have any ideas, opinions about the AI component, you can go ahead and leave them in the chat. Otherwise, let's keep on talking about accountability. Now, a lot of the time when it comes to us as, this is very specifically in like the music industry and the acting industry, we feel like we need an agent in order to get to the next stage, whatever that stage might be. When understand that that is A, false, but also B, it is based on if you manage to remain accountable until that time in your career. Now, what do I mean by this? An agent only wants to work with somebody who can get work. An agent's job is to get you a job, but you have to be able to book jobs yourself. It's like, I need experience to get a job, but I need a job to get experience. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So that's why we lean back on the whole accountability aspect, all the boring minutia things that we do each and every day. If I had my day, typically people would think that it is the most mundane thing in the world. I wake up, work out, read a book out loud to practice my cold reading techniques, go and practice in my closet, just reading scripts in my vocal booth, just reading down scripts, send emails to clients. If I have any gigs that I have to do that day, I will do those gigs. I will watch a couple of videos so that I can learn some new techniques. I will go back and practice again, read another book for about 20, 30 minutes out loud so that I can learn more cold reading techniques. And then that's pretty much my day when it comes to voiceover. And it's been that way for the last 3 years. It is not a lot of actually acting in a gig, but this is still my full-time job. That's why accountability is so important. Being able to sit down in the chair when you don't have a gig and you say, I don't want to do this. I'd rather be working with a client on the video game production that I am really interested in. But having the wherewithal to still go, okay, but this is a huge part of the job. Sitting myself down day after day and doing the boring things that, let's be honest, most of us would rather not be doing. Most of us would rather be doing the acting portion of things. And that's fantastic. You can. That's one of the biggest things that I stress to a lot of my students. You can do the acting portion of this every single day. No, it might not be for a paycheck. You might just be making your own scenes and acting out your own scenes and being able to create your own scenes and doing it with a friend, with a partner, and just like creating your own work. And that is beautiful. That is the reason why most of us get in this. Yes, it'd be great to work with the Disneys and great to work with all Studio Ghibli's and all of these other production houses. But it all starts with us having the ability to understand how to do stuff on our own and the boring stuff every day. Hey, what's up, Joyful? Hope that everything is going well. Welcome to our first Wednesday. We're just going over wins of the week. I mean, going into Wednesday, hump day of voiceover week, it always starts to get a little bit bland. So we're just chatting about our wins. If you have any wins for the week that you want to share or any questions that you might have, go ahead and leave them in the chat. We're just chatting today, pretty much. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about today when it comes to the whole accountability aspect is the understanding, and I talked about this in our last live stream, but this is very important, that there's a difference between sellable skills, sellable artistry, and just your own artistry. These are two completely different things. And so much of the time I see people stress and they're really upset about the fact that their work isn't selling. Their work isn't finding the right clients. It's not getting out there. They're not getting booked for the jobs that they might want. And this might be for one of two reasons. Reason number one, our craft is very fickle. You can be hot. You can be, everybody wants your voice on a project. And then the next week, you're not sure why, but no one is calling you anymore. Why is that? A casting director who I was listening to, they had a talk. They went over it and they called it the Chris Farley effect. And that is, number one, who's Chris Farley? Number two, oh, Chris Farley's amazing. Number three, get me Chris Farley. I want him on a project. Number four, get someone who sounds like Chris Farley, but is not exactly Chris Farley. Number five, please, my God, anybody other than Chris Farley. And then that cycle starts all over again. Now, why is that? It's because our industry is very fickle. If you are the voice actor for, let's say, 8 fast food restaurants and you do all of their commercials, after a while, everybody's going to have heard your voice. And a competitor at the 9th fast food place is going to go, oh, wait, no, we don't want him, but we know his voice sounds amazing. So get us someone who sounds kind of like him, but not exactly him. That is one of the big things that happens in our industry. And it's one of the things that is the difference between artistry and sellable artistry. I did an impression of Millie from the anime Trigun and people liked it. Hey, congratulations. That is absolutely incredible. Love to hear that. Impressions are one of my favorite things. It's actually what got me into this industry. I loved, oh God, Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx is the anime that got me into this industry. Literally, I watched that show that night with my fiance. I said, I really want to be able to convey a message and have my voice become the thing that gives people an emotional feeling, whether that be joy, whether that be sadness, anger, it doesn't really matter. I want to be able to do that for other people. I've been a classical musician for the last, what am I, 27? Jeez, God, I'm 27. I've been a classical musician for the last 17 years of my life. I started playing clarinet when I was around 10, and I toured the country. Well, I didn't tour the country. I toured the state for a little while, and I was playing with bands all around. And I love the feeling of being able to convey a feeling with nothing more than an instrument, whether that be my voice or whether that be a physical instrument. So I understand that feeling. Congratulations. You should take that and really ride with it because it is very meaningful. It means a lot. So congratulations. If anybody else has a win for the week that they want to share, go ahead and put it in the chat. We're going over our wins on this Wednesday, and we're talking about all of the great things that we have done, including some things that we want to work on, some questions that we might have. I'd be happy to answer them, and some things that we're looking to change in the future to make a little bit of a bigger difference. Circling back around and going back to the accountability thing and the difference between sellable artistry and personal artistry. I see this a lot of the time when it comes to things like Instagram, content creators specifically. There is an argument of whether content creators are artists or they're just making content. And that's not what we're discussing right now. What we're discussing is the propensity for people to understand how to go viral when it comes to social media. Not only social media, but also when it comes to just artistry in general. I mean, look at was it Pablo? No, not Pablo Picasso. I always mess this up. I always want to talk about cut his ear off artist. Van Gogh. I always want to talk about Van Gogh and I always forget his name. Absolutely wonderful artist. Van Gogh, beautiful artist. But the thing is, nobody knew about his work until after he died. It wasn't the timing wasn't right. He also didn't necessarily, I mean, we don't know, we're not back in history, know how to show himself to sell his work, unlike somebody who was around the same time, Pablo Picasso. So, understanding that just because your work is not currently sellable doesn't mean that it is any less valid than somebody who is booking these roles, who is booking these jobs. It can be as simple as having a coach or somebody who is in the industry sit down and maybe 5-10 minutes, they can tell you immediately why your recordings aren't getting to the places that you want them to get to. For example, I use this one quite often, but I'll use it again here. For a lot of commercial gigs, people still use the good old announcer voiceover. So when they're talking and they're trying to sell something, they try and sell something like this. Let's say we're talking about Google. Go to google.com to find all of your questions answered today. That's not really what's popular in the market. And if you go and approach auditions from that perspective, it's not going to be that surprising why you're not landing gigs, why you're not landing the gigs that you want to be landing. All you need is somebody who's in the industry to be able to tell you that style is very valid. It is a valid style that you have worked on, and it sounds great, but it's not what clients are currently looking for. Clients are currently looking for X, Y, and Z. That's all that you need. And then you can start practicing and training, leaning on that accountability aspect and being able to put all of this together. Now, I'm going to give you a solid exercise here. This is something that has worked for me. If it doesn't work for you, let it go. This is just something that I do every single day that I've seen a huge benefit from. Two-part thing. Number one, I want you every day to take 5 minutes, hold yourself accountable, and try this exercise at least for a week. It only takes 5-10 minutes. Pick up something. Whether that be pasta from your pantry, whether that be a book, no matter what it is, pick up something, and I want you to just cold read it. Flip to a random page in a book and just start reading. The reason why is because when you get a script for an audition, a lot of the time you are going to be cold reading this stuff. The faster you can read stuff and get into a flow, the absolute better you're going to be when it comes to running down auditions. I mean, on Voices, I get about 30, 40 auditions a day. And I don't sit there and do them all day. It takes me maybe an hour and a half because I know how to look at a script and read it and digest it in a style. And you get that way from cold reading. So that's number one. I want you every single day, 5-10 minutes, just pick up a book, flip to a random page, and read it out loud. Because if we read just in our heads, number one, we're voice actors. We don't send messages to people. We actually speak the word. So read it out loud. If you flub up, if you mess up, that's fine. It is practice, and that's practicing every day. Hold yourself accountable to that. Number two, the second thing I want you to do, figure out what actual genre you want to get into. We talked about this at the top of the hour. Figure out if you want to do video games, if you want to do animation. Don't close yourself off to any genre necessarily, but figure out what your top thing that you want to do is. And I want you to actively listen to that thing. Actively listen instead of passively listen. So for example, all of us who watch anime understand that there are some really weird anime tropes that you can't really find in too many other types of animation. So for example, your facial expressions of a character might have a sound effect. Like you have little things that is specific to anime dubbing. And you don't know this unless you watch the medium. So if you want to participate in the medium every single day, once again, 5-10 minutes, that's all you got to do. And this one's fun. I want you to watch actively the thing that you want to be a part of. And I mean actively. Get a notebook, sit down, listen and take notes on the things that you hear. How do people say certain lines? How do they approach certain things? Not for their way of saying it, not for their style. Don't try and figure out their emotionality, like, oh, he's saying this line aggressively, because you might say that line subdued and it works perfectly fine if that's how you approach the character. What you're looking for are the notes of each of these separate roles. Like, for example, when I said people don't look for broadcast voices anymore. People don't look for the announcer voice, the aggressive car salesman voice. They want a laid back, down to earth, guy next door, gal next door, just neighborly, friendly, conversational sound. Conversational is the buzzword of 2022 and 2023. So I want you to actively listen to the medium that you want to be a part of each and every day. And I promise you, if you do these two things every day, 5-10 minutes, you are going to be in a much better position in about a month. You'll be able to pick up any script. This is the incredible thing. Read it down with the emotional intensity that you know is what is actually selling, while still putting in your type of artistry. And that is one of the best things that you can do. Understand how to audition and how to appropriately audition for a specific gig. That's very difficult. I mean, a lot of gigs call for very separate things. Like we talked about with anime, it calls for very specific, very anime-ish styles of things, but it could be the same in video games. We all know that we've heard ultra realistic, grounded acting, down to earth. In video games, we know that that is the top billable, sellable thing in the video game industry right now. We know that when it comes to TV acting or screen acting, we're also looking for grounded, realistic. I mean, in some extent, it depends on the medium. It depends on who's putting it on. Like animation for Nickelodeon is going to be very high and bombastic. It's going to be vastly different from animation for a adult animation. But it's up to us to sit down and really look through this information and learn how we can appropriately approach each of the roles that we are going for. But that's really what I wanted to talk today. I wanted to just get on, hop on, say hello, everybody, and really just start to talk about our wins, because it's very important. We are not alone. This is a connected group, and I did want to build a community, and I do want to build a community of dedicated voiceover artists and people who are striving to be voiceover artists, so that each and every day we can all come together and chat through our losses, our wins. We can figure out, what does it take to reach out and speak with an agent, or what does it take to actually land this roles. I've been auditioning hundreds of times a day and haven't gotten anywhere. Well, I'm here to help. You can always shoot me an email over at info@jaytheva.com. That's info@jaythava.com. I welcome all questions. I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to work with you. I also offer private lessons. You can go over to thatvoicebox.com. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message. Other than that, thank you for joining in on the first Wednesday, and we'll get you next week. Have a nice night, everybody.